Hey there. Hey there. How many of you guys knew that the CIA released documents about the firmament? Well, you didn't know? Well, let me show you. Let's get a little bit closer, shall we? This was released in 2000. It was originally done in 1957. This is the number you can look it up by. Firmament. You can find it on page 19. Here's where they talk about the near and local sun, flat earth, and firmament again, found on page 20. These images prove beyond a doubt that the CIA approved document from 1957 that explicitly uses the word firmament, flat earth, near sun halo, and discusses the brightness behavior over a flat surface. This isn't a theory or a guess. These are their own words in declassified, peer-reviewed, Soviet scientific studied, translated, and archived by the CIA. The word firmament was scientifically used. They didn't use the word atmosphere. They said firmament, a biblical term for the solid dome above the earth, and they measured light along with it. Quote, the brightness of the firmament. And that proves that they were operating under the assumption of a contained system. And the word flat earth appears in print deliberately. Quote, giving some conclusions based on the assumptions of a flat earth. They weren't mocking it or denying it. They were basing measurable light calculations on it. What that means is that the math and the instruments that they And now we're going to go to the near sun halo. Quote, from a surface perpendicular to the near sun halo. That confirms that the sunlight was being measured as near and not from 93 million miles away. And note how they do not say that the sun is 400 times bigger than the earth. The only way that makes sense in a high transparency, direct angle experiment is if the sun is local. Now the CIA knew about it and they kept it. They approved it for release in 2000, but they researched it from 1957, meaning that this was hidden away for decades. They translated it from Russian, archived it, and then redacted parts of it. Why would they do that if it was meaningless? They mention it over and over and over and over again in the Bible, right on the first page. They also changed this word to expanse in 1982, so all of the new Bibles say the word expanse, but people do not look up what words mean, and they count on that. But if you break up what the word firm means and meant means, and then go look up what the word expanse means. Expanse is just a play on words. Go to the Webster Dictionary, and expanse means firmament. Why would they go through all of that trouble to change it from this word to that word? This guy right here, Wernher von Braun, was a head rocket engineer for NASA. On his tombstone, it says Psalms 19:1, which specifically talks about the firmament. All of our ancient ancestors knew about the firmament. All of them. And just to think, is that the real reason why all of these rockets curve? And is that the real reason why the rainbows always curve? They don't go just straight up and out. And since this was done in 1957, and right after that, they created the Antarctica Treaty. And then right after that, NASA was created And then they did Operation Dominic and Operation Fishbowl, where they were sending up high altitude nukes or rockets to possibly try and either see how high it goes or to try and break through it. And Dominic in Hebrew means belonging to God. And no, it's not the sky, it's a solid dome. Does Earth have pressure? Yes, Earth has pressure. And you can't have pressure without a container. And if you look up the Antarctica Treaty in Article 6, do not go to Wikipedia. You actually have to go find the treaty and read in Article 6. It says, the provisions of the present treaty shall apply to the 60 degrees south. And on this map, north is directly in the middle, south is Antarctica, the ice ring, because it's not a continent at the bottom of a ball, it's an ice wall that surrounds us 360 degrees. Circumnavigation is east and west around our home. These little indicator markers will show you where the 60 degrees is on both sides. It's right in front of the ice wall in the water, goes all the way around. See? 60 degrees, 60. Right in between the landmass and just before the ice wall. There are sensors in the water, and with the satellites in the air, they are watching. And for anybody who says that you can go to Antarctica anytime you want, that is not a lie. You can pay for a guided cruise to the peninsula, or you can have a guided flyby. Even if you work there are protocols that you must follow. Otherwise, you will not have a job. But you cannot independently explore Antarctica. So why else would our nations agree on this treaty for all of these years, but we can't seem to get along on anything else? And another fun fact about this specific map, it was done in 1892 by Alexander Gleason, who is also a flat earther. The World Health Organization, the United Nations, the International Civil Aviation Organization, the International Maritime Organization, the World Meteorological Organization, they all use this map as their logo today. They do not use the globe. And their narrative is that it's a flattened out version of the Earth. No, because that's what it is. This is our home. This is what we live on. And could there quite possibly be more land beyond Antarctica? Who knows? With the treaty, they will not allow us to go. We have to stay here in their little pond. The Bible never gives the exact dimensions of the earth. In fact, it could be more land, just like Admiral Byrd said, and James Clark Ross from the 1800s. James Clark Ross from the 1800s says that there are more lands. So did Admiral Byrd. But Admiral Byrd was a Freemason. And the way the Freemasons work, if you start telling the common folk, people, the truth about their home, they will no longer be living. And his son, Admiral Byrd's son, was found murdered in a warehouse. But I'm sure that's just all coincidence. Now with this map, you can find it at Yale University. If you want it, let me know. I'll get you the link. This down here tells you how the sun goes around our home, with the summer solstice over here and the winter solstice over here. Then you have your scale right down here. And this triangle right here represents the sundial. And these little dots right here is the firmament.